All right, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Please, can you confirm you can hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. All right, welcome to today's session organized by the Microsoft Nigeria Security User Group. A quick one about me. My name is Emmanuel Itoje. I'm a Microsoft MVP. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer, community lead for Nigeria and West Africa, and also a Microsoft certified trainer as well as a security technical architect. So I'm one of the co-lead at the Nigerian Microsoft Security User Group, and also one of the co-hosts of this bi-monthly event. So this event we started about in January. We've had two sessions so far. This is our two sessions. In our first session, we had Emmanuel Oyimafu introducing us to Microsoft Entra ID. Then the last session that we had 2 weeks ago, we had Stephen Osonuga helping us to understand how to manage authentication using our Microsoft Entra ID. So today we have another speaker in person of Adekunle Ajayi. Is going to take us further in a topic that says managing authorization by using the Microsoft Entra ID. So we are basically building on what you've actually learned. So we have all the recordings available for us on our community YouTube channel. It's going to be shared with us, and if you're not part of the community, the WhatsApp link will be shared. Then we have also a LinkedIn page that I will encourage each and every one of us to actually, follow so that any information that is posted there, you also get updated regarding those information. So we'll be jumping into this session, and I'll be introducing our speaker, person of Adekunle Ajayi. Hi Adekunle, how are you doing today? Can you hear me?
Hi, my boss.
How
Hi
are you
guys.
doing today?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Do you
All
want
right,
to use your
lovely.
camera just to introduce yourself? You can turn it off after the halftime
Oh, okay.
introduction.
All right. Sure. Is it clear enough?
No, okay, I can see it's like in the beta. It's fine actually. It's fine. You
Okay.
can,
It's a bit dark, right?
yes, it is. It is.
Oh, okay. Let me just see if I can just a little bit. Mm,
No worries. You can actually turn it off and just introduce yourself, basically. Yeah.
all right, sure thing. Thank you guys, and thanks for having me. My name is Sikiru Ajayi Adekunle. You can call me, or friends call me Adekunle. You can also call me Sikiru, of course. But my preferred, choice is Dhikrullah. So, thank you guys, and I really do appreciate the Microsoft security group community, and thanks to Itoje, the boss. Is a community lead, and we've been on this space for for the past 2 years. I have known him from previous work place, so it's really a good opportunity to be involved in, should I say, giving back to the community. And of course, I'm also learning, and I'm definitely sure we are all learning. So, my background basically is education. I started with educational management, and from there, moving on to having my master's in management of business information technology in the University of Greenwich, and I am MCT, Microsoft Certified Trainer, for the past 4 years, and it's still going on, providing professionals with, and junior engineers with IT support experience. And of course, not just, focused on Microsoft technologies alone. I also teach or train on infrastructures, desktop infrastructures, just like, domain controllers, of course, on-prem servers, and a few others like group policy and so on. So, um, yeah, I'll just I think that's basically about me. And currently I am an infrastructure engineer, and I'm looking forward to learning more from you guys, and um of course impacting in one way or the other. I think that's that should be okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that brief introduction. Do you have an highlight of today? What the participants on this call should expect from this session for us? Do you have an highlight?
Okay. Yep, definitely. So I was tasked with, although even let me just put it ahead, like I think this might actually be a kind of not just one session, I guess, but I think the admin or the organizers would definitely work on that. But the time for this is not for me. I believe it's not really to enough to do justice to the topic, which is managing authorization, leveraging or using Microsoft Entra ID, formerly Azure AD, as we all know. So what we should expect basically, I mean, the objectives or goals would be for us to understand why is the need for managing or giving end users authorizations. Just let me just start in a layman way. Imagine you just get into a building and or you went to visit a friend and you are allowed to come in. That's basically authentication. I think the last session it was something related to authentication that was
Yeah,
presented.
yeah.
Good, thank you. So you've been authenticated basically to enter the room or the building. So do you just go in and then start going into each rooms? Of course no. I mean, you're just in and then you can just ask or kind of like, okay, can you sit down there? And that's where authorization comes in. So you can't go into different rooms or kitchen or even the storeroom, so you have to seek or ask question or ask, okay, or what else or something, or if they just permit you. So this is where authorization comes in. So coming back to the technical part is that or security wise, we have users being hacked somehow. We have organizations that doesn't want users to access some files or resources in their domain or in their environments. So we can say, for instance, a marketer or the marketing department, they should have access to some files, while the probably the finance team having access to some other files. So you don't want them to mix up, except where they are in a group and they need to they want to collaborate or a kind of co-authoring. So this is where authorization also comes in. So we would be looking into all these together, and then if we want to focus, or should I just give the objectives now? Um,
No, you
just
can.
hit the ground.
I'll be going backstage now,
Okay,
so you
good,
can
good.
actually have the floor. Let me
Thank
go
you. Yeah,
backstage so you can have the floor. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to the session. Yeah.
it's okay. My pleasure. So can I proceed?
Yes, please. You can go
Okay,
ahead.
right.
You
Thank
have the
you.
floor now. Yeah.
So, like I was saying, the objectives also it's including having to understand how Microsoft Entra ID works, which is formerly known as Azure AD, how the um, you know, what we need to do as an administrator or even as an IT support or as a technical support engineer. So one thing I would like to also, mention or state here is, of course, I believe, some of us, we are still like, looking forward to getting a job or, let me just say our favorite job. And also we are looking forward to upskill. We are looking forward to, learn more of lots of things on the cloud. Excuse me. So we should also look at this training session, not just mine, I mean from previously and the ones that is yet to come. We should take it very serious and try to dig in yourself. Everything is online and you just need to kind of make research and ask questions where necessary. So whatever we are doing, we are also applying the kind of um, where we can be able to use this as a part of interview guidelines and something like that. So if you're asked to do something, you should be able to, of course, give a kind of insight into it or a basic idea at least on it. So going forward, Microsoft Entra ID, it's basically a way for us to, you know, or we a kind of protection that helps organizations, or should I say organizations, could be school, it
Adekunle,
could be.
are you sharing your screen? Yes, you're sharing your screen. We can see your screen.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's really important. Let me just drag it out from the larger screen. All right, 1 second. Okay, it's still coming up here. So while this is actually loading, please just few seconds here. So while that is loading, like I was saying, Azure Active Directory or Microsoft Azure Entra ID is basically just a way for organizations, organizations like schools, we have in the health sector, we have in the transportation sector and others. It's just a way for them to be able to investigate, detect, and in fact remediate identity-based risk. So this topic is also a way for you guys to understand that you can leverage on it to become an infrastructure engineer. I think I recently had one interview regarding that, and it was fully based on Microsoft Entra ID. Trust me, we are talking of conditional access policy. We're talking of course, group policy. We are talking of um, the very common one, RBAC, RBAC. 1 second. Shoot. Can you guys see the screen now?
No,
Hello?
No, we
So
can't.
don't see it.
No, I
No, we
cannot
can't
see
see your
it.
no,
screen.
we can't.
Okay. Um, just let me know if you can, because it should have loaded.
I
Yes,
think it's
it's
Yes, I
showing
coming up
up.
can see
now.
it now.
It's coming. I can see. Yeah.
Oh, okay, excellent. Thank you, guys. So also let's try to make this interactive, yeah. Thank you. So, like I was saying, it's basically so like I was saying concerning what you can leverage, why you can leverage on this topic is, and of course subsequent topic and previous one. So it helps you to become not just a technical support engineer. You should think ahead of think ahead of kind of like think outside of the box. Yeah, just those things are just names basically. What it does is the main thing, right? I'm talking of maybe a system administrator. Of course, you have to understand how other infrastructure works, but the focus here is understanding Azure Intra ID and using it or leveraging on it to becoming exactly what you want. Maybe for instance, a system analyst and stuff like that. So it's really good. So like I said, I had one interview and everything we discussed was some sort of like Azure Information Protection, AIP, um, conditional access policy, CAP. We have our back, PIM, and a few others. So it's really good. All these things are just basically, or it revolves around security. Ensuring that we have the right people, having access to a certain resources in the organization. When I say resources, like we all know, resources could be computers, it could be like virtual machines, it could be in terms of maybe documents. We are talking of Microsoft Word, we're talking of even PDF files, we are talking of Excel, some really cogent information that you don't want anyhow person to see. So I'm going to, let us relate together in a real life experience, right? So I started by using an organization, or when you go to visit a friend, as an example, so that we can relate well with this topic, because sometimes, technical jargon might not really be clear to us all, including myself. So it's actually best for us to relate well with this. I remember back then in Juni, when a topic is giving me or my friends some issues, what do? We turn back to our mother's language. Like, let's break this down. Like, let's scatter this thing, and so we can, understand it very well. So Azure Entra ID, yeah, you went to visit an organization, or you, even as a visitor, because I remember back then in Nigeria, when I, or when we visit any organization, or maybe our friends, or even if we are going to work on it as a contract or as a contractor, sorry, so we tend to like have limited access, right? Am I correct? Has anyone been in that kind of situation or shoes? Any
That's
response?
correct.
Yeah, good.
Yes, that's
So
right.
cool. So you kind of like, why do I not have access to this? Why do I have access to this? Why does my friend or my colleague or someone has access to that? So all these are basically telling you that you are not authorized to, leverage or use that particular resources in the organization. So same thing goes with, all these infrastructures, cloud infrastructures, such as Microsoft Azure, Entra ID. So if you want your users to, to enjoy the and focus on what is very important in the organization, just give them the right access to what they need to make their work, go well, to make sure their activities for the day, is productive. So you definitely want them to have access to the right documents, right resources in the organization. Now, for an administrator, you have to be able to detect, understand, investigate, and remediate any issues coming up. So above all this I have been saying, we could also relate it with identity access management, which is IAM. If you hear this, trust me, they are basically telling you, okay, what are we talking about? Authorization, we are talking of authentication, activation, and so on. But depends on the kind of cloud the organization is now using. So you as an administrator, you should be able to. Now I'm going into kind of like, a job aspect. So you should be able to relate well with the interviewer. Um, okay, I've been able to use maybe Google Cloud Policy, GCP, I've been able to use on-prem servers, or you've been able to use um, Microsoft Azure Entra ID, but this focuses on Microsoft Azure Entra ID, of course. So, but trust me, whatever is in Azure Entra ID is also similar to what is in AWS or GCP. Trust me, it's just maybe the technical jargon or the syntax that might be a bit different. So you should be able to work your way out. So when you get to maybe you want to secure a particular file, you have to give it a full access, a full, you have to have control over it, so anyhow person doesn't just access it. So imagine a time I was working for a client in the US, and unfortunately for me, I went to, you know I proceeded to give full access. So this issue was that the I had to go into the domain controller, because some users need access, especially the new users I've onboarded. They need access. They needed access to a particular folder in a network shared or network mapped drive. When I say network map drive, like we all know, you can just go into your folder, just share it, right click on it. You can map the drive on the network. So anyone on your network can definitely see that map drive. I hope I'm correct. In various.
Yeah, yeah.
Good, thank you.
Yeah,
So
you give it access.
if users are unable, or any other client is unable to see this particular map drive, then definitely there's a problem, right? Now, that's not just the problem here. Another problem is not ensuring that some users have access to some particular files. So you don't want to share everything with all the users. So I mistakenly, or should I say, I was not aware of the fact that this particular user already had access to this root folder. So it's the kind of structure they had then was when I went to the domain controller, because they have DC for servers, and then they have DCs for their mapped files. So I was like, okay, let me just kind of cancel this privilege, and then we shared it with the users. And knowingly, there are lots of folders in it that I shouldn't have actually shared. It was then there was an escalation, and I was flagged. So I had to go back and study this again, like, oh, where was the mistake coming from? And thankfully, I mean, my senior colleague was able to assist me as at then. So you have to be very careful when it comes to authorization. And trust me, the users they were already seeing some important information in the root folder of this particular network map drive. So whereas they shouldn't see it, I mean, that's really a kind of bridging kind of organization policy that could lead to I don't know, but I mean, thankfully that's it. So you have to be careful, right? Same thing happened to a friend of mine. In fact, to be honest, he got sacked, and that's so painful. Or even with the fact that he's really like very good, excellent at what he does. So they sacked him. It was really painful. It's just an email issue. So one needs to be careful, right? If you are doing all this, I don't mean for you guys to be scared. Just ensure to put the right things, I mean, in place. Be aware of whatever you're doing. So going back to this Azure Entra ID, it's also leverages, I mean, the technology itself leverages on advanced machine learning to analyze user and sign-in patterns. So basically, what does this mean? It's just, let's say, for instance, you have a user, you notice every time this user signs in, it's always in a particular location, right? I think every one of us should be aware of, or we have all, come across this kind of scenario before, whereby it's going to show you an alert when you sign in from a particular location that you're not, used to. So these are the kind of things that this the Azure Entra ID you know authorization in Azure Entra ID also does. So because with machine learning, of course, artificial intelligence running from the background, it's basically analyze all this, and then whatever pattern is coming, maybe you sign in from a particular location, or you sign in with a different IP address, or maybe on another device, automatically it's going to flag it. And these are part of the things we should do, but these ones are more of authentication, right? So excuse me, going forward, we should look at basic introduction. Of course, authorization from layman, it's basically what resources the users can access and what actions they can basically perform. You don't want anyhow users to just go into a particular file or folder and just do anyhow. Even if we are going to be more technical, we have the Azure DevOps team. This is also the interesting part of and maybe understanding how my authorization works in Microsoft Entra ID. It's not just about you controlling files or folders or something. It's also about working with physical resources. Like I remember then, we once used YubiKey. YubiKey basically for authentication, of course, and it also includes authorization. So we want you guys to access a particular once you have been authenticated to sign in, we want you to access a particular resources on the cloud. So we were using YubiKey, and that thing just works basically by insert it. It's like a USB. Just insert it into your flash your device, and then you get authorized, putting your fingerprints on it and something like that. So all these are parts of authentication and authorization. And another very good part of this topic is that you would definitely relate with different departments, like Azure DevOps team, even software engineering team, even database administrator, how and why. So you as an as an engineer managing the Entra ID or the infrastructure of a particular organization, you would be working with Azure DevOps in, or let me use database administrator as an example here. You want a particular um, DB admin to manage some resources in the cloud in Microsoft Azure. So you don't want them to access something else except the database. So, and this is where SQL Server comes in. So you can definitely assign them this particular this particular resource just for them to manage it, right? You don't want to give that to maybe even a software engineer, because there are limited things a software engineer can do. But of course, it is also good for them to work on database, for testing purposes and so on. Probably not just production environments. Um, Even a tester, I mean the QA analyst, so they are also part of it. So you tend to work with lots of people, lots of departments, and those are good parts of this. So we should get this straight. Authentication, like I said earlier, you want to go into a building. Do you have access to the building? Are you, authenticated to come in? If not, then you're not allowed. So technically, you can. It's the same thing. Maybe on your WhatsApp or on your you downloaded a new application. Have you been authenticated? You can't. Office 365 basic, basic example is Office 365. Are you able to sign in or not? If you can't, or do you have an account? If not, you can't, of course. So that's basic authentication. Now, authorization is after having, been authenticated, are you able or are you authorized to use certain resources or certain applications? For instance, we all know definitely that um, if you have maybe Microsoft Business Basic license, I don't know if that's still in, I'm not too sure, but I'm sure you guys will correct me. So if you have Business Basic or maybe E1 license, enterprise license, you can't download, desktop applications, isn't it? But I know some people, some engineers do tweak it, but you can't definitely. So it's not possible, and that's where authorization also comes in. So if you have access to download, then that's fine. Now, another way to authorize users to use desktop applications, is if you go to there's a part in Microsoft's admin center. If you go to licenses, then we have licenses, services, and apps below on the right left hand side. I think enough of this talk. Uh, let me share my other screen, the admin center from my test environment. Just please tell me if you can see it. Okay, I'm in the admin center now. Can you guys see?
Yeah, I can still see your presentation.
Okay, just the presentation.
Probably,
Okay, okay.
probably want to stop sharing and reshare.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much. Give me 1 second. Okay. Please tell me once you can see.
Yes, yes.
All right, lovely. Thank you. So this is the admin center. I'm definitely sure most of us are aware of it. If you come to the left-hand side and you click on active users, of course there are other ways to, this example I'm about to, give. So you click on maybe any of the users, and let me use the ones that have the access to just use myself. All right, licenses and apps. And then this is what I was saying. You can see the apps here, right? So if you have the license, of course, the users have been, granted the access. So there's a particular feature in here that if you uncheck it, this is it. If I uncheck this, I'm not going to have the desktop applications. These are part of authorizations. Okay. Um, 1 second. Let me look at another service running because there's a couple of service running for this particular license. And, by the way, this is not the usual license we are all used to. It's a developer license. Um, yeah, apps for enterprise. This particular feature, if I uncheck this, I won't be able to have access to download the desktop applications. And so imagine an organization. Why did I show this? Is imagine an organization you want users or end users not to be able to use desktop applications, for some reasons, of course, for security reasons also, probably because, the desktop is not really secured, or maybe they have their own BYOD, bring your own device. So, or you want to reduce costs also. As an administrator, these are part of what you should do to, or you should know to not give back or grant access, or to not authorize the users to, get access to all this. So, um, those are basically parts of, the examples I would really want us to understand, from the Microsoft administrator view. So, I'm gonna stop sharing this, and I will reshare my screen to, to the presentation slides. So, having discussed about the permission, access, authorization basically. So we can move on to why authorization is actually important. So give me a few seconds. By the way, if I'm probably rushing, please let me know so I can reduce my pace. All right. So we have why is authorization, important. When I say authorization is important, why is authorization in Entra ID or Microsoft Entra ID is very important, or even in an organization. Basically, or the first thing that comes to our head is it protects sensitive data and, of course, the organization resources, and also it ensures compliance with security policies. Security policies, of course, such as conditional access policy, and a few others, even AIP. So sensitive data and resources, of course, it could be maybe um, a bank account information from end users. Like recently, I think as a last year between June, July, August. I don't know if we are aware, TFL was hacked. That's Transport for London. They were hacked, and it's really something that got to them. A few of the customers, they had issues with their payments. So it's something we can of course pull up. So we need we need to be really be careful. And I think from what happened was actually that the what I think is it all one of the files was tampered with or so. So I'll further check that, but we can of course read up on it. So we should really be careful, because this can lead to a huge loss for the organization, even ourselves. So from security perspective, you have to have a kind of zero tolerance for anything. Whatever you guess, make sure you hit it immediately. So let's move on to our back, and this is where it gets more interesting. So how does our back comes into play? How does conditional access policy comes into play? Um, if we all go to the admin center, not even admin center, the Entra ID. Yeah, I'm just going to reshare my screen, right? But for now, let me just give overview of this. So RBAC, from the name itself, RBAC is just an acronym. So the name is Role-Based Access Control. It's okay. Let's just quickly imagine in our hospital, just like what is here. Doctors can access patient records, right? But receptionists or even a nurse can only schedule appointments. So you know this, of course, like I said earlier, it um, makes anyone in the organization, employees, to have a focus on what they want to do. You know, not having to open up these, go into another resource, go into another folder, or all these things takes time. So makes them focus on what they need to do, makes them to be productive. So this outback is also basically assigning permission based on roles and not just individuals. We can have anyone, individuals have just variables like individuals or employees can go, they can come, or anyone in the organization can go or come, but the role has to be, kind of permanent, except for maybe in terms of contractors, right? So we'll get there. Now, key components of Outback, of course, is the first is roles, of course, role assignments, the scope, and then permissions. Now, if you have all these intact, you are very good to go when it comes to managing users and the resources in the organization. So you just basically define a set of permissions for when it comes to roles, and then the role assignment is to assign the users or group to a particular roles. How does that work? So we can have security group, we can have maybe it could be um, for HR group or something. Just put all the HR team in, or HR um, users in a particular group and then assign them the role basically. So this makes it much more easier for them to focus on what they need to do and then security wise. So we are looking at scope, which determines where the role applies, and permissions, which means you have to specify the actions a role can perform. So if I'm going to share my screen now, you would be looking at sharing my Entra ID. Give me 1 second.
Hi, Secure. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Hi,
Can
boss.
I ask a question?
Sure, please.
Yeah, so please, what's the difference between a group that is created and a role that is assigned to it, and the organization unit on Azure AD?
Okay, good question. If I get you very well, difference between a group,
Yeah, you
um,
said a group, roles that's Outback is assigned to users and
yeah,
a group, but the little I do know is that sometimes they create an OU, add users or
yes,
something into that OU, then they can assign some policies around. So, what is different between those policies that is assigned to the OU and this Outback role base being assigned to a group in the AD? So, what's the difference between the OU and that group that we're talking about? I don't know if you get
okay.
that.
Yeah, I get you. So let me start from OU, yeah. Organization units basically is just a container in the Active Directory, which is the AD. Just to organize your users, your computers, and groups itself. So the resources in this aspect is the users, the computers, and the groups. All right. So why do we have OUs in we have OUs in domain controller also, DC. Now that's basically if you want to manage your on-prem users or on-prem resources. So organization units helps to focus on, helps a department to focus on what they need to do particularly. So for instance, the HR department, which contains all HR related accounts, but does not itself enforce any kind of like security policies, right? So these are the good parts of OUs. Now, if as an administrator, you were told to, you know, look for some particular users in the HR department, when of course you know that HR department is part of your OUs, you can definitely or just easily go to the HR department OU and then do what you need to do. Maybe remove them, delete them, or maybe reset their password or something. Basically, that's OU. Now, for is that clear? Is that clear?
Yeah, but I think
Okay.
should we say OU is on the Azure on-prem, not on the, I'm sorry, on the AD on-prem, not on the Azure Entra ID. Is
Of
it?
course,
I'm not very
we
familiar with the two. I
oh,
just
okay.
have an idea. I'm just saying that the OU is it specific to the on-prem, while
Mhm.
the group is on the Azure.
Okay, so first we have OUs on AD, which is the on-prem server. Also, we have Azure Entra ID, which is cloud-based, which is of course formerly known as Azure AD. So no organization units in Azure Entra ID, of course, and
Ah,
instead, instead, what administrator use is, or what we can maybe kind of relate with OUs in Entra ID, of course, which is the cloud, is
mm,
called administrative units, and
oh,
that is AUs.
okay, okay.
Yeah, so
That's
this delegates kind of it delegates administration basically to subsets of users and groups, just like I explained earlier for on-prem OU servers.
yeah. Thank you.
Sure. So I'm just going to continue to share my screen. All right, tell me if you can see it.
Yes, it's up now.
All right, good. So I think I will just go back to the kind of like maybe from scratch. So of course, how do we get there? Just type in office.com, right? Excuse me. For you to get to your admin center, for you to get to Microsoft Azure Entra ID. So once you get to office.com, of course, you would need your license. By the way, I forgot to mention that the prerequisites for you to have access to, most of all these tools or technologies, precisely the one we are focused on, which is Azure Entra ID, you would definitely need the either P1 or P2 license, which is Premium or Premium 2 license. So um, instantly you would see your admin, icon by the left-hand side or menu. So of course you click on that, then it takes you to the admin center, and this is admin center. So these are a list of users. Of course, we are aware of this. I'm just trying to, not wanting us to go through this again, because of course we have specialists that would walk us through this. So we have security, right? This admin center, just two parts basically. We have security, we have compliance, we have Microsoft Intune, of course. We have identity, Exchange, SharePoint, Teams. Now, we are focused on identity. So remember, I mentioned something about IAM, Identity Access and Management. Um, this is where it comes to play. So if you look at the bottom left, you should see the link there. That's entra.microsoft.com and then your domain name. So once you click on that, it redirects you to the Entra admin center. And this is, of course, how we get here. This is just a basic introduction here, right? So concerning the question that was asked by I'm not too sure who asked the question, but it's concerning OU, and then I explained the OU in Entra ID is just the AU in Entra ID, administrative unit. So OU on on-prem servers, I'll see if I can pull up my domain controller if I have enough time. So let me just run my Hyper-V VirtualBox on the side. So we can definitely look for it from this, from this angle, and we have administrative units, right? Okay, so that's loaded. So this is AU, which is kind of similar to OU on the on-prem servers. You can, of course, add a new AU, sorry. So you can see we have properties. Um, Maybe you can just give it any name, depends on what name you want. once you give it a name, you can come to let me just do HR department. Then, in fact, this is also part of authorization. I think we should be aware of this also. But this is not part of my own plan. I'm just, of course, trying to um, make us understand or be aware of this also. And thanks to the to my colleague that asked the question, we still have enough time, I guess. So you can put in anything for description, then go to the assign roles, and then you can see we have administrative roles can be used to grant access to Microsoft Entra ID and other Microsoft services. Proceed to maybe choose anyone in here, and then go on to review and create. So that's Azure for you. I'm sure that should be a bit clear. All right, so moving on. What I was going to show earlier is the Entra ID platform. Someone was going to say something.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
let's
Go
go on.
ahead. That's
Yeah,
it.
thank you. So for our back, which is role-based access control, so we would be looking at the RBAC features in Entra ID. Of course, we have a couple of them, but we'll be focused on the roles and permissions, so which is right. Data protection. Let me see. So this conditional access will be coming back to that, not now. That's PIM. We'll be coming back to that. Please tell me if you can see this um, roles and permissions. No, not this. Okay. What I'll quickly do.
You want to navigate to our back?
Sorry, please, what are you looking? Okay, Robert.
Yeah, I'll back. I just sometimes I just get like, what's up? Okay,
Yeah, it happens.
that one. So we have roles and admins on the left-hand side pane, right? So as an administrator, right, one good example for us to be aware of is we should not, I think this in fact, this should be like a kind of um, a pasted note somewhere or so. We had a discussion on this on the group sometimes back concerning um, having to not grant full access to just one, maybe one person. In this instance, the global administrator. And why is this? It's very simple. You don't want the users or the global admin to get hacked because automatically that means there's no other way out. You understand? And of course, the global admin can get hacked, and that's the truth. So, what did we talk about was ensuring that you grant access privilege to those that deserve it. I'm just explaining in a layman way. So, for instance, you understand that you have the IT department, IT support department, and basically, what do they want to do? They just want to maybe, part of what they do basically as an IT support is resetting password for end users, correct? So you obviously don't want them to have access to all, to be able to do any other thing. Just be able to, um, you know, reset password for the users. Now, if you go ahead and assign the global admin to this particular user, then there's a problem, right? So because ordinarily you just want them to, reset password. So the global administrator should be the one to oversee any other admin in the organization, right? So of course you have other admin also, which is very important. So please take note of that. And this is also where our back is, very good. You can have a database administrator to manage anything related to database. You can have maybe enterprise application or application administrator. You can have, you know, a whole lot of other roles, and definitely you can create your own um, role-based access control also, which is a customized one. And if you look at the top left on the role dashboard, you can see we have new custom role for you to create yours, and you can of course fine tune it to what you like. But we have default ones, which are we have AI administrator. I'm definitely sure this is where copilots would come in. Um, let's look at the description. Back. So looking at the description, it says manage all aspects of M365 Copilot and AI-related enterprise services in Microsoft 365. So which means whatever AI is coming, is being deployed, because Microsoft has made this Azure portal to to be able to take in lots of different applications. So you might have your software engineers in the organization develop a kind of AI bot, or AI, even a copilot application, whereby you can integrate into your own enterprise applications on your Microsoft Azure portal. So what the AI administrator would definitely do is to um, manage it. Of course, as an infrastructure engineer, or a system admin managing or handling the infrastructure of the organization, then you'll be the one to assign this to the AI administrator. That is not your own duty to do. I mean, being the one to manage AI. Of course, some organization can allow you to do that, but yeah, that's the best. So we can grant privilege to application developers, which is very important. You should understand this also. Maybe a kind of like you want to register applications or new softwares. We can also have enterprise applications in there. We can have simulation administrator, and in fact, there's a whole lot of them, right? There's a whole lot. You can see compliance, cloud device, and this is where Intune comes in also. We have Dynamics 365 also, domain name. There's a lot. In fact, Exchange Administrator, which most of us are aware of, is also in there. So all this is basically for us to reduce the security, lapses in the environment. And now let's proceed to should we use let's start from using one of these as an example, right? So what we want to achieve now is we would onboard a new maybe IT support engineer or a technical support engineer, and then we are going to assign him or her a role. Now, what does this role do? It's for the user to, or for the new onboarded employee, excuse me, for the new onboarded employee to be able to reset password for end users, right? So I think we might create two users. We can have maybe user one, user two, or tech support one, tech support two, so we can be able to differentiate, and then we would see if one can, reset the password, and if the other is unable to reset the password, right? So all this, we should be able to achieve this in next 1 hour. Okay. All right. Let's go into play. So let's just do a new custom rule. All right. We can name this. We can name this. Tech support role, if that makes sense. Just put the description, manage all users, properties, and of course, password resets. I'm gonna start from scratch, and this is another good part of this. It makes it easy for you to clone from a custom role. So if you want to clone, I mean, if you have a ready-made customized role that you took your time to study, and you can be able to make use of it again. So far, it aligns with what you want to do next. So, but for us, we'll just start from scratch, and then we can, click on next. And then what permission do we want to give this particular role? So, like I said earlier, if you take notes from the documentation, the PowerPoint, we said role is depending on of course the permissions is depending on the role, so or the role is also depending on the permission, so it works in that ways. Now we had permissions for this custom role, which is a permissions for application registrations and enterprise applications. So let's scroll down and look at um, what permission we can give this particular user. Updates, authentication, all types of application. So you can see one of them. Update all application proxy properties. We don't want to give them override all application proxy properties. You can also kind of fish it out and let's work this together. Make it interactive, yeah. You can read owners of applications now. You can see BitLocker. There's lots of permissions we can assign here, but our focus is for the tech support team to be able to reset password for end users, right? So row, read basic properties, cross tenants, delete. Update owners of security groups. So we have another rule here on permission. You can see that, but we are not focused on that. It's a bit tiny, but let me just see if I can use a browser general search. So does this work? I guess no, right? So can move on to the next one. Manage password single sign-on credentials, read password single sign-on credentials, update password policies of users. So this is for me, I am going to select this, if that makes sense. Um, read registered. Yeah. Now, this is also part of it, but something more advanced for you
Oh,
to connect.
um, sorry, Sikiru. Good
Yep.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so
Go on.
I have a question.
Sure.
If we were using default rows for
Okay.
Entra ID, if we were to
Mhm.
assign a default Entra ID row, what row would
Mhm.
that be? Do you understand my question?
Default Entra ID role.
Yes. Instead of, what we are trying to do here is create a custom row, right? Which is our own naming type and all of that. So
Yes.
if we were to use Microsoft default row, what would that row be that will assign to the group for those tech
Okay.
support guys to be able to change password? Yeah, that's my
All right.
question. Thank
Good one. I'll come back to that. Yeah. I mean, if I go back now, we might just lose this thing we are doing at the moment. So I was just going to go back a bit, and then you can see because I think I showed it earlier. We'll just go back to basic. But
That's fine.
let me just quickly click on next on this one. Let me search by users. Now look at this. We have update basic properties on users, right? So we definitely want to select this. We have contact also. We don't need that. Update parental, update password policies of user. So we selected that already. So meaning if there is, maybe you want to update the user to the password to kind of like meet a particular format, definitely the IT team can, of course, do that. So I think we can move on from here. Right. So let's click on next. So we have these two permissions under this particular role, right? So we can just click on create to save. Okay. So now we need to further check this assignment because obviously that's an assignment. And then let's see eligible ones. Let me go back to roles. So all good. And you can see we have assignments, which says, yeah, this was what I was looking for, which says 0 assignments, right? So we can just say add assignments. Right, still loading. That's still loading. So I wouldn't want us to take much time on that. Okay. So let's just go directly to our users. So like I said, the scenario is we have a new user coming in, right? And one of the user is going to be our maybe tech support guy that can, of course, reset password for end users. Not too sure why this is just keeps loading and loading. Let me just do a general refresh. Bear with me, please. Okay, good. So let's just create a new user, right? That's gonna be real quick. So we can say text up one, if that makes sense. There, of course, your domain we all can definitely we can all create all this display name text up one. I'm just gonna copy this and put somewhere, which is the password. No, let's just review and so even before we create that, you can see we have basics, we have properties, we have assignments. Now, this is where we can add these guys. Now, the other question that was asked earlier, having to, make them be in a kind of OU, you know, just you can just start doing that from here. Now, if you have a bunch of users, there's a way you can just automatically do it. I think you can use conditional access policy to achieve this. Um, you set it by this if conditional statement. Once you set that, so whatever, once you set the rule, whatever, or the policy, whatever user is coming in, and then based on the properties of that particular user, say for instance we have user one from Spain, user two from Nigeria, user three from the UK, user four from US, automatically this policy is going to loop through all those new users and then dump those users in this particular administrative unit, the AU, right? So these are just basic features that makes Entra ID very useful and very convenient for administrators to leverage on and use. So let's wait for these rows to pop up. All right, that's it. So here we have role here. We have AI administrator, application developer, and few others. Now, if we search for the one we created, which is tech support, right? That's not what we need. It's not synced yet. So this is the group. By default, that should pop up. But somehow it's not even popping up. So what we can do is just proceed, right? So I have my password, then just create. So for now, it's just a ordinary member. Let me look for the tech support. That's one. That's it. Tech support one. Tech support. So I think we use tech sup, right? Let me just refresh. Okay, yep, there we go. Sorry about that. So you can see that's just a member. We click on that, and then good. Now, if you look at the left-hand pane, we have overview, audit, signing logs, and all these features for the user. Now we can go to the assigned roles, and we have Azure role assignments. So let's go to Azure role assignments, and then wait for it to load. no role has been found for the selected subscription. So let's go back to assign roles. Add assignment. Now this is still loading, but this is up. So scroll down and then search for tech. So we have, this was the tech support role we created earlier, if you remember. So just click on that. But it keeps loading the resource type. But I think we should just move on and not, focus on that particular one. But it has to complete. I have to refresh it. This is weird. Hard refresh. While that is still loading, let me go back to roles. So the other time, a colleague asked a question, right? Rather than just using new custom role, we have some default roles in there, like I said. So or like we can all see, of course. So you can see it says built-in. If you look at the right hand side, we have built-in, we have custom, and this is the built-in one. So like for instance, this user administrator is an assignment. Of course, you can definitely bring in um, different user administrator in here. And in fact, this particular user administrator also, it he or she can also perform the the reset password stuff for end users. Excuse me. So if you I'm just gonna pen my the customized customized role we had the other time. So we'll definitely check back to that. So if you come back here, going to add assignments, let's just use that to select member. So from this pane, we can, of course, select users. You can select some groups. So for instance, we have um, tech support group. Inside the tech support group, you can, of course, add more users into it. This makes it easy to manage your technical support guys, right? As an administrator. So um, for now, we just use the users. Of course, it works the same way, right? But you just don't want to keep searching like this. You just go to the groups, go in there, and then do what you need to do. So let me just do a search for all search for text support one. All right, this one. I didn't even know this was available already. So we select that. And then I was expecting this next to, pop up. But again, remember, this is a default role we are using, right? And are we all together? Sorry. Hello?
Yeah, I'm with you, bro.
Yes,
From my end.
I'm with you.
Thank you, guys. All right. I'm just gonna click on next. So we have assignment type. So this is where it gets interesting. Let's say, for instance, you have contractors, maybe tech support, contractor team. So you can, of course, set the assignment type. Maybe you want it to be eligible, you want it to be active. You can check the maximum allowed eligibility, also, which is the duration period. So do you want it permanently eligible or not? You can uncheck, and then you can put in, date and past so time for this to, elapse probably 6 months or something. But for now, we just, proceed to use the um, permanent eligibility, checkbox. So we can definitely assign this. Okay, so that's for tech support one, and it says also assigned to role user administrator in the directory. So if you refresh, of course, this should pop up. Okay, that's for user administrator, and although it is active, but I was expecting it to show from here. So let me just quickly check before we test our new user. Let me go back to my custom roles. Excuse me. That's my own role. Just do a search. Excuse me. No, there's no need for us to create a new one because we have one already. So if I just do a search and say tech, so we have tech support role. Okay, add assignments. Now, for some reason, it keeps running me through getting role details. That's something we might need to check, of course. So So, of course, we would have to come back to this, right? There should be some sort of, next session. Like I said earlier, I didn't even see this coming because I still tested all this recently, and somehow these are what we face actually on the job. So, quickly, let's go back to the roles we have. So we already created a new role for the user, and that is the user administrator. Come back to all users, search for tech support one. Then you go into the assigned rows for the user. And bear in mind that this particular user does not have any global administrator privilege, right? So those are part of what we need to understand as part of authorization in Entra ID. So that's it in there, right? And that's really cool. So as an admin, I mean a global administrator, you can see you can remove or update if you want to. Now let me launch a new in private window, right? Just gonna do private window, but can you guys see it? Hello?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. Thank you. So I'm just going to do portal.azure.com. I mean the new in private window. Can you guys see it?
No, we are still stuck at tech support one. Tech
Oh,
support
okay.
one.
Thank you. Exactly. That was what I was trying to. Thank you so much for that. Just gonna stop sharing and reshare real quick. Okay. So tell me if you can see it. It's actually loading.
Yeah, in private window browse in private browsing.
All right, good. Thank you. So portal.azure.com. So because the user, which tech support one, has access to the privilege or the role that has been assigned to this particular user, so we believe we should be able to reset password for end users, correct? Then we'll test again. We are going to remove the user from having the role or permission and then test, refresh, and then we test again. Though that might take a couple of maybe seconds or minutes, you know. Excuse me. So this is Azure portal actually, so don't get confused. This is our Entra ID, right? So just click on view or just say Entra the Microsoft account, well, for easy access. Okay, we are here and then we granted the user the this tech support guy, we granted him permission to be able to reset password and a couple of other, maybe like to update the user information. So let's go into any of the users. Actually, by my understanding, by on the field, is to always test for errors first before we test the actual work. But we're already into this, so let's just go on. Okay, we have which user can we we can just try out any user, right? Even myself, but I wouldn't want such. Let's use user one since we have user one already. Okay, you click on that. Okay, still loading. In all honesty, I'm not really sure of why this is just like giving me, not used to be like this. Few seconds on, please. Oh, pretty slow. So remember, we are still on just one of the features of, managing authorization in Microsoft Azure Entra ID. So we still need to talk about PIM. Still need to talk about conditional access policy and a few other authorization. So let me be quick with this. Well, I believe we all, one way or the other, have been in this kind of situation where the internet will just come up and I don't know. That's not good. And then it's not like that on my Mac. At least I'm getting 100 plus on my Mac, 160 Mbps. Hmm.
Someone is losing his probably has something to say.
Okay, please go on. Do you have a question? Okay, let me check the chat. Aminat Animation.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Good evening.
Yeah, you're correct, Solomon.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Please shoot.
Okay, I just want to get a clarification. Now,
Sure.
while creating the role, the
Okay.
user is not a global administrator.
Yes.
You use the user administrator in
Yes.
creating the tech support, right? Now, after creating the tech support on user administrator on the admin center, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so after giving the tech support the role to reset the
Role.
password,
Yes.
then if the user wants to now use to reset a client's password,
Mm-hmm.
the user can now go to portal.azure.com,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yes.
That's where the user can now reset the client's password. Though
Exactly.
the user doesn't have the admin right.
Yeah, the global
Admin
privilege.
right. So, but
Yeah,
the tech support has a user admin right, right?
exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Why then on that user admin portal, can't
Mhm.
the person assign the reset password?
So I love this question. Thank you so much. Yeah. Um, like we said, this overview of all, I mean, the overview of all these, of this particular topic is based on security and compliance. Um, you should understand as an administrator, as an IT admin, that the first thing is always be at the level of its zero tolerance kind of ideology, whereby you don't want to let any you don't just basically want anything like oh, you got hacked, or you are guessing or second guessing that okay, it could be this password, it could be no. So why we are doing this privilege of role based RBAC feature here is it basically allows end users not to have a kind of um, full power concerning their password. Now, let me quickly tip this in that Microsoft actually gave us a route to that, to your question, or the answer to your question, which is using the SSPR, self-service password reset. Meaning, as an admin, you can also create a link, or well, the link is not actually by default, but you can set it up, authorize end users to be able to self-reset their password. It's just more or less like what in the last session concerning verification ID that was, um, authored by one of our colleagues. He mentioned something about, correct me guys if I'm wrong. He mentioned something about having a full control over your own application of resources. But again, you have to be extra careful because hackers are out there. The way you are thinking, they're also thinking, and you don't want them to think ahead of you. So end users in their own way, they just kind of do their own thing. They don't care about, well, I wouldn't say they don't care, but they are just like, okay, this should be okay. Let me just move on with resetting my password, and it shouldn't be any problem, right? So somehow you are resetting your password. Imagine sending a link to the end users, and I mean the SSPR link, and boom, it's actually getting to someone else. Maybe probably the link is can't actually tampered with. So you really want to be careful as an administrator in that regard. So we want end users to be able to reset their password, of course, but not with a full right. Okay. So administrators should be able to do that and just send them. And again, the useful case or a kind of mm, scenario we can also apply here is maybe a new user, or we have a lot of new users that have been onboarded. So you just want the user administrator, which is this tech support guy, to undo that, and then pass it on to the end users, maybe via email or by mouth or something. So you have to be careful. I hope this explains your question.
It does, but not fully. So in this instance now,
Mhm.
are you saying the self-service resetting of the password?
No, it's not
So
self-service reset password. Self-service reset password works in a way that the administrator will send a link to the affected user. So let's say you are the user, I'm an admin, uh, and you need to get into your maybe office application or desktop application, but your password is incorrect or is lost or something. So once they send you the link, um it should be aka.ms/SSPR or something. So once they send you the link, right, you have to click on the link, put in your email, which is your business email or your organization email, and then it asks you for your maybe a basic verification like your phone number or maybe another email address you've used, or yeah, basically those two are the forefronts of it. Or it could even be your authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator application, just like I think one of the colleague already you know tutored us on this. So if you reset your password using that link, then it means you have full control over it. Of course, the link is actually secured, but we want end users to be sure of the link they are clicking on as an administrator. Do you understand that?
okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. So the focus here again, just lastly, is for the administrator to undo the role or privilege in this regard, and not handing everything over to maybe the global administrator or to the end user. Okay. So it's just like you are assigning or delegating responsibility in the organization. So let's say, for instance, we have the marketing department head, which kind of like oversee whatever is going on in the marketing department. So if you go into your maybe Azure administrative unit in Azure Entra ID, you want to definitely assign a role or permission to this marketing head, so maybe to manage all whatever resources is in the marketing department, like maybe their SharePoint files and folders, OneDrive, and maybe Excel or Microsoft documents. You don't want it to get to any other user in the organization, basically. So I hope that answers your question. Now this is the SSPR. Like I said, it's aka.ms /SSPR. If you click on, let me just see how it looks like, aka.ms/SSPR.
Please, can I say something when you're done?
Definitely. So you can see how it looks like. So it's just a password reset, the Microsoft.online.com. So you put in your business account. Again, it has to have been I think it's part of the authentication process. Not even think, it is part of the authentication process, as part of the security and compliance. So we have SSPR, we have using authenticator app. We have verifying via emails, and then via we have a couple of others. I remember four, just the last one now. So
Text
I'm
message.
sure my guys in there can assist me with that one.
Text
Okay.
message.
Yeah,
Okay. All
text
right.
message, thank you. Or OTP.
Okay. Even
All right,
UBK can also work fine. Okay.
shoot.
All right. Just let me just bring our mind back a little. So while creating a user, remember it will prompt you to create to okay, let's say to say if you give you a prompt saying users should change their password at their first sign in. It's actually because of security purpose. That is why the self-service password, I mean, that is the SSP is not coming first. So because Microsoft actually knew that okay, there is every tendency that you will forget your password. And
Exactly.
even if you didn't forget, the every tendency that
Mm-hmm.
something might come up. So
Mm-hmm.
help desk administrator is there, user admin is there, global admin is there. So those ones they are now it's not their duty to now like okay, this person should be attended to, or the global admin. If you
Mm-hmm.
talk about the organization up to 500 members, you can't expect the global admin to be doing this and this. You can either
Thank you.
assign somebody, probably like
Yeah.
just create a group of 5 persons, then give them assign a role to them, which is a help desk administrator. Because five of
Right.
them can't just be offline at the same time. So one of them must be online, depending
Exactly.
on their schedule. So by the time you raise a request concerning the change of password, whoever that
Mm-hmm.
is online at that particular point will just attend to you. Now, let's
Lovely.
assume the aspect of self-service request. That is SSPR. Now you send a request, and then whoever that is there at that particular point, now that is whoever that is attending to you now reply you, and instantly you got a call, you stand up. Imagine someone who is, let me just call it like hacker, is there as well. At that point, he has
Yes.
access. What if he now probably reset it for you because it's self-service password? Or probably you now check, okay, you're actually using Windows Hello, you're using YubiKey. Now touch, apply the YubiKey over there and create a user in your organization, giving it a familiar name, like a dummy of which it will be active. At that point, you
Active,
already
yeah.
had access into your organization. You are no longer
Sweet.
secured.
At all.
So that is why while creating a user, it is first prompt. I mean, it is designed that you should make request for, or if you forget the password, you should make request that the admin or whoever that is in charge to reset it for you, and you have to change it as your first sign in. If you want to change as your first sign in, even the admin is not aware. The admin does not have access to some of your, because he don't have access to your password, because it's only
At
when
all.
he wants to change it for you. That is at first. That is when he knew. But if you now decide to like, okay, he asks you to change it. Even while you want to change it, you have to enter the one he sent to you first. You can't enter it at the second and the third place to confirm it won't work. Microsoft will flaunt it for you. So the best thing that you can actually do is you are actually securing your password from the admin, from any other person, and from fraud and all the rest. So you will know your organization and all the rest. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you so much for the insight, Sir Solomon. That's so insightful. I hope that's really clear. Even me, I've just gained one or two from what he just said. So let's move on quickly because time is now against us. Excuse me. Now we are trying to access a particular user, and what Solomon just said, one part of what he said was even the admin would not see what the user is trying to, um, reset his or her password to. So we'll see it in the demo real quick. Excuse me. Let me try um, user one. I guess I have to share my screen. Okay, good. I've been able to pull up one of the users. So Let me quickly reshare. Give me 1 second. Yes, definitely it can be reset. Just answered the question. Stop sharing. Okay. So here we have, are you able to see my screen, please?
So screen is visible, showing is at one overview.
Lovely. Thanks so much. So so now don't forget we have tech support one, just the tech support guide to reset our password, and we have our role assigned to the user as part of the, of course, authorization principles. So we want to reset the password for this particular user, and then you can see the reset password feature is just at the top right here. So what you need to do is just click on that, which is pretty easy, and we have a pane on the right hand side, right? So it says the user will be assigned a temporary password that must be changed on the next sign in. Now this is what Solomon was trying to say. I hope you can all see that. So it doesn't mean the particular admin is, of course he's saying the password he wants to reset, but be rest assured that the end user has the password secured. I mean, for security reasons. So once you click on reset, it just automatically brings up a new password. You can copy this and then probably wrap it up in a secured link. There are a lot of secured link out there. I'm used to one, which is uh, PW something, PW reset or so. And then you just send it to the user. The user clicks on it and then reviews this particular, you know, password, and then proceed to sign in. And then how does it sign in? Just go to office.com and then you can be able to sign in from there. So we should put that into practice. But before then, let's just leave it this way, okay? I'm going to minimize, and then we will go back to the global admin um, portal in Entra ID, and then we can remove the privilege or role we assign to the tech guy. Let's say, for instance, the tech guy is gone in the organization, so we want to, assign someone else. So let me share my screen. Right. So tell me if we can all see the screen again. It's a dark screen.
Yeah, tech support one, assign one.
All right. Thank you. So now let's, as a global admin, of course, you should find your way real quick. Just go to the users. If it's in a group of tech support groups, of course, you go to the group and search for the particular user or tech support guy. Just click on it. Then you want to, of course, remove the role we assigned to the user, right? So we have it in here. So you can see we have user administrator role, end time permanent, of course. So, but for now, we just want to remove it. You can also update, well, I'm just gonna remove. So are you sure you want to remove assignment for text run? Then you can just say, yeah, removed. So you get a notification at the top right. Kind of refresh. You can see there's nothing in there. Just to be sure, you want to be sure everything is removed. Because now if I reshare my screen, then I would pull up the where we have the user. All right, please tell me if you can see the screen.
Not yet.
Okay. I'm not sure why today of all days my internet is, kind of acting up.
Hello, Sikru. Hello.
Yep, I'm here. Do you want to ask a
Yeah.
question?
Okay. Not really a question. My observation. I feel why internet is somehow slow could be
Mm-hmm.
as a result of the opened tabs. I think I saw many of them out there. That could slow. Yes. It slow
Okay, yeah.
down. Yeah.
Good
Yes.
observation. Yeah,
All
right.
right. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks so much. Okay, I think it should be able to load now. Just let me know if it's able to pop up.
Yeah, it's visible now. User one
Oh,
over there.
all right, lovely. With a white background color, I think we have the dark one also.
Okay,
So
right.
yeah, thank you. So if I just close this reset password, then we can just do a general refresh or add refresh and see the behavior. Okay, so for tech support one, and then we have user. So we have the reset password at the top. So we might still need to give it few minutes, or like I said earlier, for it to refresh properly. And in fact, I think it's already working. So if you look at, earlier, it was showing a button down here, correct? Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
All right, good. Thank you. So I just want us to, of course, to be sure we are all on the same page. So you can see at the moment the tech support guy is unable to, has been deauthorized or something, unauthorized from, granting access to be able to reset password for any user in the organization. And these are part of, good features that we can always leverage on. But of course, this is a basic one, and we'll definitely deep dive into the our back with real life examples. Hopefully, I hope the administrators, I mean, my oga at the top can allow us have more sessions regarding this. So I will be more than glad to jump on it, and this time just straight to some labs, because I think we had a lot of theoretical aspects today, and well, of course it's good, I mean, personally. So let's try it again and try to reset the password. So you can see it's not included again. So those are basically the ways. We have many ways. Of course, this is just the first instance of the lab where we, or a demo where the tech support guy is unable to grant is being granted the role or privilege to reset password for the user. And these are very good for administrators to be aware of, and we can definitely have lots and lots of um, our back examples in the future. I'll definitely share the slides with you guys. Do we have any question? Like, let me quickly reshare my before I remove this, let's just throw in some questions so I can share the PowerPoint slide again. I'm trying to pull up my VM, my Windows 2012 VM, so you can see the OU in organizational unit, or probably I will just send you a link. I think someone asked a question concerning OU and not really familiar with it. So thank you really much. Please ask questions, yeah. I know we've been asking questions, and that's good. We have a minute raising the hand, something. Thank you, Patrick.
Okay, can I go ahead?
Thank you, Chisholm. Yep, sure, shoot.
Okay, please. My question is, as a global admin, for instance, like when you're using AWS, as a root administrator, it's always advisable you create an IAM, whereby you can do all the tasks. So whenever you want to go to the root admin, will be when you want to do something on billing and stuff like that. So, but
Okay.
on Azure like this Entra ID or Microsoft 365, okay, as a global administrator, is there something related whereby you won't be logging in as the global administrator so that you can perform all other tasks in case of any mistake?
In case of any mistake, do we have any other role without the global admin privilege, right?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, the global admin is like a root user overall.
Yes.
So
Yes.
instead of logging in all the time as the global administrator, I give an instance like AWS as the root user.
Yes.
You have your IAM. So with that
Yes.
IAM, you can still perform some other things, assign roles and all of that. So, but on this now, as a global admin, is there something related we can actually log into as the super user instead of logging
Yes.
into the global administrator all the time in performing your roles?
Oh, okay, lovely. So, like I said earlier, this was one of the things in fact, we even discussed this in the group. I think I was one asking the question that I was like, what exactly is what exactly is the difference between, because someone mentioned in there that we shouldn't always use the global admin to access the environment. So me, I was like, what does this mean, like, because I wasn't really sure then, and it really gave me insight into what it means. So now, first, let me just answer you directly. You can use the PIM role, which is basically assign yourself a different privilege role via PIM. And of course, you can, that's what we just tried actually, like using user administrator, a security administrator, or Azure AD joined device local administrator. That's from on-prem this thing to manage devices basically. Also, you could also follow another best practice, which is using the break class account. It's like a secondary admin account with emergency access, if that makes sense.
What did you call the second one aside from PIM?
Break glass account. That's like an emergency or a secondary admin account that you can use.
I didn't get it. That's a break class account.
Yeah, break glass account, meaning if there is any emergency or if there is any kind of situation that warrants maybe handling security settings or some sort of, then you can definitely use another emergency account to log in instead of your global admin credentials. And this is where you even get to beat the hackers, right?
Thank you very much.
Sure, you're welcome.
Lisa, can I just say something just in a minute?
Yes, please.
Okay. I think Microsoft recommend that it's not ideal to have just only one global admin in an organization. At least let's just say 2, 3, maximum 4. And this admin role should be delegated to those persons whom you trust in an organization. So that if it happens that the first one or your own is compromised, you can easily, which is the break glass account now, you can easily log in from the other one and initiate so as to sign the one that has been compromised out of all section and do the needful. So I believe she said something about mistake. So it means there's a mistake in the first global admin. The other global admin account, the one you created by yourself or the one you assigned to, you can easily reach out to them and say, send my account out or my account is compromised. At least they know what they do. I mean, they know what to do. So it means
Exactly.
doing that. Okay, it's actually one of the best parts that Microsoft advised, at least don't have only one, at least have
Sure.
3, 4, and it should be dedicated to trusted persons. Trusted persons.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Right. Right. So if you remember, because based on his question was, thank you so much, Solomon. Really appreciate that. He mentioned another account for the particular user. So that's why I mentioned you can't use emergency accounts, and which is very important. And that's also where break glass accounts comes in. Like that's just a general term, like a kind of layman term. It wouldn't want to be called an emergency account, and that's why I said break glass accounts. So you can always run to your emergency accounts, quickly do what you need to do, because maybe probably you guys got hacked or something. And of course, yeah, mistakes comes in. So yeah, I hope that's really clear. Any more questions?
Let me just contribute to the discussion so far, right? So for my
Lovely.
organizations, what we do is for the break glass accounts, let's say the name of my organization is Google, so I'm google.com. But if you remember, at the point of creating the tenant, there is .on Microsoft.com. So for that break class account, it is recommended that don't use your domain at google.com. Use the at on Microsoft.com for that break class account. And when you enable MFA for this account, it is always advisable that you use the conditional access policies in such a way that that particular break glass account is exempted from that policy. So in case, because I've seen scenario in which customer calling that they're having an issue, they are testing out conditional access features, and now all the global admins are locked out. They cannot access the tenants.
Hmm.
So at that point, if you're creating conditional access policy, that break class account should be exempted such a way that it is a mistake and every other global admin is locked out. You'll be able to use that break glass account to seek in access into the tenants to raise a request with Microsoft, and that request is going to data protection, which might take some time, and your business is going to lose some revenues if you cannot operate at that point. Then regarding the other conversation around, so Microsoft recommend the principle of least privilege.
Yes.
Everybody should not be global admin, right? Somebody that is a level 1 support guy, just give the person maybe the work the person within is just to create users and all that. Give the person user administration. Somebody in the security department, cyber security team, security administrator. It is only privileged users, maximum 4, recommended by Microsoft. There will be global admin. And even with them, team is also recommended, right? You create an account, a global admin for some a certain period of time. Maybe they need to assist the global admin in doing some things, and they need that. So PIM is recommended in that scenario. So principal least privilege is actually very, very important because zero trust security is one of the things that we're advocating for. Thank you.
100%. Thanks so much. Lovely. That's from the honorable leader. Any further question?
So if there are questions, please, the floor is still open for questions. I know we are 5 minutes over the time. We actually started like 5 minutes after. So the questions, the floor is open. And if you have not followed us on the LinkedIn page, please, I dropped the link. Follow us on LinkedIn. And if you want to join our WhatsApp community as well, I dropped the link. I'll be pasting the link again. So for those that want to join us on WhatsApp, we have conversations there. Also, you can ask the questions. We have a lot of subject matter experts there that will attend to your questions. So, Secure, I mean, if you have a last words for the session before we
Oh yeah,
close the session for today here.
sure. Thank you so much, everyone. It's really my pleasure. And like I said, if there's gonna be any further session regarding this, maybe a kind of second part, so I'll be more than glad
Yeah,
to come up, and
there
there'll
will
be
because
some lab. Okay.
yeah, authorization is actually very wide. We are still
Yeah,
yet to cover the part of the privilege identity management. We still
exactly.
have the intra ID permission management. We still have the
Exactly.
intra ID governance, talking about the
Right.
entitlement management, access
Right.
review, and the likes of something. So there will be a follow-up session for this. So for us to touch all those other parts of authorizations. Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And that's it. So, I wanted to ask earlier if that's gonna be something that you guys will welcome. So, of course, I'm definitely sure everyone is hungry for knowledge, so including myself. So, thank you so much, and hope this was really, helpful. And thanks for the questions that was raised. It means we are actually on the same page.
Thank you so much, Adekunle. It's really a pleasure to actually have you today. I'm very sure participants has learned a lot, as much as I've learned myself. So there'll be a follow-up session, like I mentioned, so we can discuss this further again, touch other areas of authorization. And it is very interesting. One of the projects I'm personally working on is around authorization, the
Wow.
intra-ID governance. That's an area I'm currently working on, an internal project. So it's actually a lot of fun around those things. So thank you everyone for joining us for this session. So our next session is going to be in the next 2 weeks, which is going to happen in the first week of March. It's will be communicated to us on WhatsApp, and we'll have our one weekend. Thank you everyone. Cheers for now.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye, guys.
Have a good one. Yeah. Bye bye everyone.
Yeah, bye bye, everyone. Thank you for your time and for